Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It's been a wetter week here, but by no means wet, if that makes any sense at all. We have had some rain. The ground is starting to feel like it might be actually soaking up some of the moisture and isn't just drying up straight away. The dams are still pretty much empty, but it's going to take a while for that moisture to like get into that base and then for it to be able to hold. But there are some positive signs that we are getting more into winter. We have found a couple of mushrooms, and as I said, the ground is getting slightly wetter. I've managed to tidy up here a bit in the shed. I mentioned last week that Adam had inspired me because he tidied up through here and had made it nice and neat. I still do have to vacuum, but I have cleared a lot of space around through my work area. A lot of it was just actually putting rubbish in the bin. Well, actually, not in the bin. We ended up having a bonfire, so I burnt quite a bit of stuff. So that was quite helpful because we had the fire going, and as I just found rubbish, I was able to just grab it, take it outside, and get rid of it straight away, and not have to take it over to the bins or wait until the bins were empty enough to be able to put stuff in it. I've moved my spinning wheel to just here beside me so it's nice and close to the fire. I've slightly altered the furniture a little bit, and I've cleared my desk, and I've cleared the table, so now I can start market prep, labeling, all of that kind of stuff. It's also allowed me to have my yarn drying right here by the fire, which is really nice. It is quite cold today, so I am really enjoying having the fire going and having a nice, relaxed, clean space to enjoy it. This past week, I dyed up what will most likely be the last batches before the Melbourne Fiberfest at the Coburg Town Hall on the 14th and 15th of June. It is now drying, as I said. Having the fire here is great to just get that last little bit of damp out of the yarn before I put it away. I honestly don't think I'm going to have time to dye, dry, reskein, label anymore. Um, I would love to have more, but I just think that would be way too ambitious. And I have a stack that has to be packaged and sorted through at the moment anyway. So time to move on to that phase, which I plan to share with you in the next video that I put out. So what I did this week was dye some more batches of the color that I showed you last week, and Now Your Dream Is Real, and also some more of And I Wondered What You Were Dreaming. They're both the two of the main colors that I have in my new collection, which will be launched at the market. It is the Songs from the Dye Studio Dream Edition with all lyrics from songs that I have been playing in my studio while I've been dyeing. Some with more obvious dream references than others, but all of them sort of struck a chord with me while I was dyeing. Um, so I've been sharing those here, and I've also been sharing them on Instagram. And I now have a full Spotify list of the 5 songs. It's only 5, but of the 5 songs, and I will put a link to that Spotify list below so you can go listen to the songs for yourself. To go with those main colors, I have dyed up 8 different contrast colors. I have shown you them here in the last few weeks, but I thought I'd actually show you them by name. And then my next job is to lay them all out and decide how I'm going to match them all together, because they kind of all go, but I'm going to make sets of 100-gram skeins and 50-gram skeins, and sell them as a set rather than having them all separately. I might end up having a few separate, depends how I go in terms of getting all of the packaging and labeling done. But at this stage, my plan is to have them all as sets. So let me show you each of the colors. First, I have Euphoric. And Ethereal, and this is the one that I'm working on at the moment in my knitting project. This is Prophetic, as in like prophecy, like things where you might have a premonition of the future. This is blissful. Renewing. Oh, that's blowing out a little bit. Where can I? It is pretty bright, so maybe that's probably not too bad. Renewing. This is lucid. It's probably a little more green than it's showing on the camera. It's not quite as blue. And vivid. And blissful. So they are all of the contrast colors that will be going with the 5 dream songs that I have created. Actually, let me get all 5 of the dream songs as well for you. Okay, so here are all of the dream song yarns. This is the one I showed you last week. This is I Wondered What You're Dreaming. So it's a overwash of black with yellow and green and some turquoise and some pinks and purples. And this is And Now Your Dream Is Real. I Dream to Riot. That's the one I'm knitting with at the moment. This is Here in the Dark Watching You Dream. And this is I Don't Sleep, I Dream. So there are the 5 dream colors. I'm not going to be able to hold it all. And can I do it? I don't think I can. I'm trying really. Hang on. Let me get all of these first. Get all of the 50-gram skeins first. Like that, maybe. There. And that's not too bad. So that is all of the colors together. And now I'm going to mix and match the dream states with the dream songs. And they will all be available at the Melbourne Fibre Fest next week. Also next week, I'll have some new 3D printed items. I have yarn bobbins in a large and a small size. So these are great for intarsia projects, color work projects, or for just holding smaller scraps of yarn. If you're doing some scrappy socks, you can wind it around and it will secure. You just slip the yarn through the edges here and it'll secure it, and you can wrap it around and it will easily wind off. And I have them in a multitude of different colors, some new colors too. We've got this one that sort of changes between a pink and an orange. I have this also in the row counters and the notions containers as well. I've got some in the light pink. I've got a grey, a blue, some green and yellow, and purple. So that's the sort of that's the selection of the colors. And as I said, there are 2 different sizes, and I think that they will be really handy to have for doing lots of color work and intarsia projects. So this week will be final preparations for the market, getting all of this stuff labeled and deciding on how I'm going to set up my stall. So I think what I'm going to do is film some of that this week, and I'll share that with you next week. So next week, as the video goes live, I will be at the market already. It's a 2-day market, so there's lots of preparation, but it's also nice to get there, set up, and then at the end of that first day, not having to break everything down and pack up again, but having it just there and ready to go the next day before you pack away. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you can come and say hi. It should be a really good one. Lots of other fabulous makers and creative people, which I'm looking forward to seeing First of what I'm wearing this week, this is the Dragonflies jumper by Joji Locatelli. I knit this back in 2017. And I've worn it quite a bit over the years. It's really comfortable. It has this dragonfly pattern on the front and the back, and it's got garter stitch detail around the neck and on the sleeves. It fits really well. The yarn is Colleen's Crafts. I think it's her Corriedale Silk blend. It's an 8-ply, and she doesn't really name her colorways. I think this is just a burgundy red. And as you can see, that the white through it is where it's the silk component, where the dye hasn't taken quite the same as the rest of the yarn. I do love how it marls on the sleeves here with that color, and sort of gives you some striping flashing through it. It's actually not quite as obvious, those lines in person, as it is on the camera. So yeah, this has been a really great jumper. I really like Joji Locatelli's jumper patterns. I've knit a number of them, and this one is probably more intricate than I would normally do in terms of having the patterning on both the front and the back, but it was really quite an easy one to do, and it is really effective in terms of breaking up some of that color as well. So yeah, it's nice to be wearing that here in the shed with the fire going and now the sun coming through the window. And I'll leave the details below of the pattern so you can go check it out. After a couple of really productive weeks of knitting, I haven't really got a lot to show you this week. As you can see from the rest of this video, I've been really busy with all of the yarn stuff, so I haven't really had a lot of knitting time. I've been quite tired in the evenings, and I have been getting into bed and doing just a few rows and then calling it for the night. So I have done a little bit, but not anywhere near as much as I have done the last few weeks. So first, to the socks I'm knitting for my dad out of 3 different colors of Zilana Cozy sock yarn. So I'm doing 2 at a time, toe up, and I am a fair way through the feet. He obviously has reasonably large feet, so it's going to take me a bit more time. I think I'm going to have enough of this yarn. I'm pulling from both ends of this ball to do the full foot, and then I will switch to the blue for the heel, and then I have some yellow mustard color that I can use for the leg. I may even do helical stripes and stripe these 2 together just for a bit of interest. So I don't really know how these are going to turn out. I'm just going to keep going until this runs out, and I haven't been doing a lot on these because they are reasonably small needles, but I would like to get a bit more progress done. His birthday is in a couple of weeks, so they may not be done for then, but he knows that they're on the way. And the other thing I've been working on is the shawl that I'm making up for myself. I think I'm going to call it probably Dream Song, something like that, because it is related to the collection that I'm about to release. I'm using the Dream to Riot colorway and the Ethereal colorway. So there, I'll show you them in the ball. And I'm just using a basic shawl shape. I am doing 2 increases on one side and 1 decrease on the other side to create a gradual triangle shaped shawl. So I can use as much of the yarn as I possibly can. Last week I showed you I was just around these eyelets that I put in, and then I've knit a band of the Ethereal, and now I've gone back to what I first started with, which was 3 single stripes. So I think I'm just going to repeat this pattern. So I've got 3 single stripes, a double garter ridge stripe, then a single, and then a double, my ruffle, some eyelets, and then that thicker band of the Ethereal. And I think I'm going to continue that along with roughly the same amount of garter ridges between each, because as this shawl gets bigger, that will look like a lot more fabric, even though it's only the same number of rows. Does that make sense? And I feel like the spacing looks pretty good on that now. And you could wear it, that could almost be a little kerchief and you could go right there, but I'm going to continue. Sorry, the sun's kind of blowing it out a little bit. So I need to bring it back here. Of course, the sun comes out when I start recording. So, yeah, I'm just gradually working on this. It doesn't take that much thinking or counting because it's really easy to read the knitting with the garter ridges. Excuse me. And being on nice big needles, it's an easy one to do in the evening as well, even if I only get a couple of rows in. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.